looks good.
You didn't read the sign. No, I was just reading your ticket because they're beef tomatoes and
It tastes good.
Tastes the same to me.
But this food has been shot full of radiation.
No, I'm putting it back, that's it.
Is it fit to eat, or are we biting into forbidden fruit?
We, the American public, are being asked to be the guinea pigs for a potentially toxic nuclear technology.
Radiation means that's fresh, wholesome, and safe to eat.
They don't know it's safe, they don't know it's not safe, and they're ready to play Russian roulette.
Now it can be told, as America gets its first taste of Adam's apple. Up front today, a food fight pitting science against nature, with the American Consumer Court right in the middle. It's all over a new processing technique that zaps certain grocery items with doses of radiation. ISN contributing correspondent Mary Yu is out to investigate this hot controversy.
The final experiments with this technology will be conducted on our dinner tables. That's outrageous. We, the American public, are being asked to be the guinea pigs for a potentially toxic nuclear technology.
No one has ever had any kind of effect from irradiated foods, but millions have taken sick from non-irradiated foods.
They don't know it's safe, they don't know it's not safe, and they're ready to play Russian roulette. That's bad public policy.
These tomatoes may look like any others you've seen, but there's a big difference. These have been irradiated, a process some say is a boon for growers and distributors. Opponents say that irradiation is a very dangerous process. One thing is certain, irradiated food is coming to a supermarket near you. Here in Mulberry, Florida, the first food irradiation plant in this country has begun operation. The process, approved by the FDA for certain produce and meats, involves bombarding the food with gamma rays from a radioactive source, in this case, cobalt-60, a man-made nuclear product imported from Canada.
That gives you your radiation that kills the bacteria, that makes the food wholesome and safe to eat.
The plant is the brainchild of owner Sam Whitney, who says food irradiation, which kills bacteria, mold, and parasites, will extend the shelf life of food and kill dangerous microorganisms like salmonella in meats, making food safer for consumers.
If the technology makes it safer, it's like pasteurized milk. When I was a little boy, we had a choice between pasteurized or non-pasteurized. My mommy, she bought pasteurized. Now everybody does. Radiation means that's fresh, wholesome, and safe to eat.
Whitney points out that food irradiation has been approved by such scientific bodies as the FDA and the World Health Organization and has been used in many countries for years. But it has also been banned in others and in some states here in America. Despite decades of research and the stamp of approval from World Health Organizations, food irradiation is still extremely controversial.
This is the food equivalent of the breast implant fiasco. Not enough science being done, unleashing a technology prematurely on the American public, and then waiting decades to see, was it safe or was it not safe? That's absurd, it's irresponsible, and it's criminal.
Food and Water has fought the idea of food irradiation for years. Proponents dismiss Colby and his consumer education group as a bunch of anti-nuke quacks with no scientific expertise. Dr. Edward Remmers runs a pro-industry consumer education group.
The people that are criticizing irradiated food are far, far removed from mainstream science and medicine. There's actually no credible, responsible, knowledgeable physician or scientist who is opposing irradiated food.
But we found quite a few. Dr. Donald Loria is a professor and chairman at the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey. He and his staff reviewed the studies used by the FDA to approve food irradiation.
We found that 2 of them were so appallingly flawed that if any one of our medical students by year 2 in medical school said these were decent studies, we'd flunk them.
Dr. Loria says that, at a minimum, food treated by irradiation causes a depletion in nutrients and vitamins. Other scientists we spoke with worry that molecular changes in irradiated food could cause chromosomal abnormalities, genetic problems in the future, and possibly cancer. As Dr. Steinberg, a radiation biology and oncology expert, says, the right tests haven't been done.
We still need more studies if we're going to expose the full American population to this. Children and reproducing young adults, and they may consume maybe upwards of 20+% of their diet in different ways that may be irradiated. We better make sure that this is absolutely positively correct.
There's been no evidence whatsoever of any increased risk of cancer or any other condition from it.
But many opponents say there's no proof food irradiation won't cause health problems either. Dr. Saul Slapikoff is a biochemist and genetic toxicologist at Tufts University.
If we start feeding irradiated food to the public, sometime in the year 2020 or 2025, epidemiologists are going to be looking at the level of some disease and wonder whether it's due to the consumption of irradiated food.
No one from the Food and Drug Administration would appear on camera to discuss the agency's approval of food irradiation. The expert they suggested we talk to instead is a Dr. George Giddings, a biochemist and food scientist who has been working with such organizations as the International Atomic Energy Commission to promote food irradiation around the world.
Can you give me a sense, Doctor, of the connection between the International Atomic Energy Commission and the food irradiation industry?
Well, the connection goes back years. One of the main components of the International Atomic Energy Agency mission is to foster peaceful uses of atomic energy.
There is a mandate on the part of the DOE to find a use for nuclear byproducts.
Oh, very much so. That's part of their mandate, actually, to seek uses for the elements of nuclear reactor spent fuel. That's been a mandate going back to the old Atomic Energy Commission days back in the 50s and 60s.
Beyond the effects of eating irradiated food, critics are worried that food irradiation plants, which now use cobalt-60, may begin using cesium, a nuclear byproduct in plentiful supply, and one that our own Department of Energy has been trying to find uses for decades. While the industry denies it would ever use cesium, in 1985 the Department of Energy persuaded Radiation Sterilizers, a plant in Decatur, Georgia that irradiates medical supplies, to use cesium with disastrous results.
At least one of more than 200 water-insulated stainless steel cylinders containing the cesium began to leak. The level remains constant, but which cylinder is leaking remains a mystery.
And recently, the Department of Energy reached an agreement with Nordion of Canada, the company which designs and builds most of the irradiation plants in the world, to buy cesium. Critics worry about the transportation of radioactive material and about the proliferation of plants like these across the country, plants mostly built and designed by Nordion of Canada with less than desirable safety records.
Once the rules are finalized for poultry, then we get the approval of FDA to do fish and shellfish. And then I think you're going to find that beef and other things be coming along because...
Despite Whitney's ambitions, we were hard-pressed to find any supermarkets that sell irradiated food. In fact, large chains like Publix supermarkets in Florida say they won't carry it because consumers don't want irradiated food. At the only grocery store in Florida that sells irradiated food, we talk to customers. By law, irradiated food must be clearly marked.
But it's clearly marked here, irradiated vine-ripened tomatoes, so you didn't read the sign.
No, I was just reading your ticket because they're beef tomatoes and they're 59
You didn't notice the word irradiated.
Right, didn't look at it.
You know they're irradiated. Do they taste the same to you?
Tastes the same to me.
And you like them?
I don't know the difference. No, I'm putting them back, that's it.
Why don't you read the literature? You might
I'll
find
read
you're
it,
still okay
but
with
I'll put them back.
In the end, after all the debate, no matter what the experts say, it is you who will decide. Consumers will decide if there is a future for irradiated foods.